You are now tuned in to the Chaotic Culture Podcast.
It's the KKP on your mother flipping airways. Hear the name ringing through the halls and the stairways. You were listening to a pod that can segue all the latest topics guaranteed to fill your headspace. It's a safe place to voice your opinion. Say what you feel just like you're a kid again. Kid the pro and friends black as obsidian. Chaotic culture, that's the world we living in. So what's the word?
True, they did. I did read that. You're right.
I don't know if I caught that or not. I have to look that one up.
Yeah, like I just dropped
Like right.
Like they've just started that, and it's just they do so much and they do so well with it. It's just one of the things that we just don't talk about it.
That's fair, man. That's fair. And big shout out to Sports Illustrated for doing their damn thing. Like again, as you said, JB, that's the fact that they're even able to report and they don't miss on that speaks highly of their wrestling coverage, man. And honestly, as we said previously before, man, definitely shout out to all like the black podcasters who cover wrestling that are, in these spaces now, because as Jay had mentioned, when we were growing up, that was not possible, or we could have never imagined it. And now we got more black people in this space than ever, and then on top of that, you got as you mentioned Wale and his love for it. So it's really crazy. It's really crazy to see rap artists like Wale and Rick Ross when he was with AEW being this heavily involved in wrestling. With that in mind, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. This is a wrestling episode, so if you're not into wrestling, you can go ahead and turn it off now, or just hit that played and counter up the numbers, whatever you want to do. We appreciate you, but yeah, we are going to cover wrestling because this is a big moment that happened in WWE, a moment that a lot of us did not think would happen ever again, to be honest. But we have to cover this. So quick introduction for those who don't know. I'm the host and creator of the Ked Culture Podcast, your boy Ked the Pro, aka the Encore Presentation. Your favorite music nerd. I'm trying to just get through all of these, but yeah, you already know the 843 is me, but VA is where I stay, always chaotic, never toxic. Back again, once again, with black culture highlights and black culture shenanigans. With me, of course, is the soundboard general, of course, Jay Lee Trey. If you can go ahead and give a quick introduction, sir.
Funniest. Oh my God. This is your boy Jay, aka Jay Lee Trey, also known as the French Toast Bandit, aka 1/7 of the Elite 7 of Shogo High. And on top of that, one of the amazing co-hosts of the Cat Culture Podcast. Shout out to Ked as well. Yeah, man, hell of a wrestling. I'm gonna just say I'm gonna just give it 10 months. Like, it's literally been 10 months straight of just fire. It don't matter what company that you like, or I don't care if you're an MLW fan. I don't care if you're an AEW fan, New Japan fan, WWE, obviously, especially after, the other night. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. If you are a fan of wrestling, this is definitely the episode to tune in. And we got some special guests sliding through too. So yeah, it's gonna be a good job. It's gonna be a good time.
Indeed. Starting with the first special guest. He's actually the first time he's been on this podcast. JB versus the world.
What up?
Yes, sir.
JB versus the whole world. I will smack everybody and their mama respectfully if you disrespect me and my peoples. What's going on, everybody? JB of JB versus the world. This is my first time here, so I do like a full introduction. Do I do the whole thing, or
go ahead and get a full introduction, bro? It's your first time here.
So your first time here, bro.
All right, man. What you want to talk about, man? Because that's a bit me, man. That's why I be fighting everybody, man. You talk about sports, I got you. You want to talk about anime, I got you. You want to talk cartoons, comics, I got you. TV, movies, I got you. And obviously wrestling. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be here with y'all today. And I'm here with my peoples. I'm here with my brothers. I'm here with fellow kings to talk about wrestling, to talk about these war games with y'all, because WWE brought it. And just like Jay said, it is the golden time to be a wrestling fan. If there was ever a time you wanted to hop in, talk about it, revel in it, stew in it, bask in it, this is your time. And we're going to got some stuff for y'all today, because I'm not trying to punk y'all out, but you might want to stick around for this.
That
well played,
good.
Sir.
That nigga's good.
Well fucking played, my brother. All right, and joining us, who technically isn't the first time that he's joined the Chaotic Culture, it's just the first time that he's joined us in a recorded space as opposed to a live episode of the O That You Should Know. Omar, please go ahead.
What is going on? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
What is
sir.
what's happening, man? What's going on, man? It's the O That You Should Know, Omar Solo. 1/3, if we're doing full introductions, 1/3 of the culture cast, for the culture, by the culture. We do it for the culture. If you're not down with the culture, we just can't help you. Shout out to my wrestling peeps. Also, just a regular sophisticated ratchet anime nigga. Excuse me, a nigga who watch anime. And I can say that, right?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
good.
you can say that.
Okay, I assumed I could. I just didn't want to make any assumptions. Word to the team, the Baratier boys. You already know the vibes. Happy to be here to talk about wrestling. Because to quote that famous video, wrestling is for niggas. Wrestling is for niggas.
Hey, you ain't lying. You
That's a
ain't
sample top
lying.
fact.
Absolutely. As they've said before, it's such a great time to be a wrestling fan. Like, so much has been going on. Listen, if you are a fan of MLW, this is a great time to be a wrestling fan. If you're a fan of New Japan, it's always a good fan. It's always a good year.
Always
to
a
be
good
fan
time
of
for
New
that
Japan.
shit.
Yes, always a good time. Always a good time. Listen, if you a fan of Stardom, AAA, like what Lucha Underground, whatever your preference, this is the time for you. Of course, if you are a fan of AEW, big shout outs to y'all. There are some changes that are being made within AEW's ranks, but still, as far as the wrestling content itself, it is absolutely phenomenal. The storylines are, that's if that's what you like about AEW, that's your preference. In my opinion, the storylines aren't the best right now. Creatively, it's kind of like but still, the wrestling itself is still phenomenal within AEW, and I still love watching it. But WWE, I don't know what it is. It just seemed like ever since 2022, when who so-called quote unquote retired and Triple H took over, things have been on the up. And even when Vince had his little what's the word I'm calling I don't want to call it it's not exactly a takeover, because technically he already owned it, but hostile takeover, that's what we're looking for. When he tried
Don't
to do
call
the
it a
hostile
comeback.
takeover,
When
yeah,
he when he
and
bullied
come back.
himself back in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bullied
he pulled
himself back in.
Yeah,
He was out here
and
Brett Favre.
Yep,
facts.
pretty much. It's sold. Of course, we already know that they came to an agreement with Endeavor and whatnot. Them and UFC came together. They formed TKO, and of course, he got the position of what is it, executive producer? Because we know he was executive producer of WWE when he forced his way back in, but now I guess he's executive producer. That being said, he has been forced completely out of creative, which means that Triple H is back at the helm once again, fully in control. So on top of that, Vince sold a good bit of his stocks. He's still kind of like the majority shareholder, but he sold a bunch of his stock, which in our terms, it means, okay, he's quietly like leaving. And
That
however
exit, bro. Thank
yeah.
God.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because truly, like, even to your point, kid, like, not to cut you, I'm about to say right on up. This the other thing. It's like, especially after what happened last night, because we're like live recording this, but for some of y'all, it was a few nights ago. The shift is here for World
Yes.
Wrestling Entertainment. The shift is we seen a partial shift, but now the shift has arrived. I was talking to somebody else earlier today when I was out watching football, and they was into wrestling. They said, "Yo, is Hunter really about to do it?" I said, "Hey, I think so, man. It's a good time. It's a really good time."
And I think another thing to add on to what you were saying, Jay, is that on top of it being a wonderful time in wrestling, WWE has provided us, like, especially over the course of the last year, since SummerSlam, this has been percolating, these things that they've been doing.
Facts.
Whether it's the Bloodline or the return of Io Sky or the return of Nia Jax or even the two that were on screen last night and somebody else who returned, and who's to come. Like, on top of that, like, on all these things are going on, like, we haven't even gotten started yet.
We
There's
haven't.
so much.
We really
There's
haven't.
so much more left to be done. There's so much more surprises left, and the fact that the surprise that we've gotten to this point are genuine surprises.
Yeah.
Like, in the age where the internet cannot hold water, like, we knew Randy was coming,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't know about that last one. Like
Or the
we didn't know
last two,
when.
JB.
Oh, the last.
Stop.
Really
Yeah.
though.
Hey, black people win again. The truth shall set you free.
Rest for this for who?
Wrestling is for niggas.
Like they are cooking up a 5-star meal with everything they've been giving us so far. Like, and that's to your point, Ked. AEW, phenomenal matches, storytelling, and WWE storytelling. It's off the charts right now. It's the best it's ever been. Even the little subtleties in the background of other segments to facial expressions, and they're cooking right now.
Yes.
And I'm loving every second of it. 8 o'clock tomorrow night, as of this recording, I'm tuning in. I'm locked into Raw because I need to know.
Locked in.
Just locked in, bro. And even with me not watching Raw or SmackDown like consistently, I still catch highlights or I'll still go back on YouTube TV and just watch certain matches if I have to. But yeah, tomorrow I'm dead locked in. Like, oh, I gotta see what happens now. I will say that even NXT has been very, very, very consistent as far as its storytelling. And take NXT for what it is. Yes, it's still technically developmental, but at the same time, the storylines that are going through NXT have got you locked in. Like, oh my gosh, yo, they're actually making this real entertainment.
Okay,
And
you
yes,
said the big thing right there too. Sorry to
Mhm.
interject, but it's being treated as a developmental brand. Now, mind you, we all love the black and gold era of
Mhm.
NXT. With Adam Cole and then Keith Lee double champion, and it was amazing.
Baby.
And then a lot of people, when they transitioned into NXT 2.0, we were a little shaky, myself included. But I had faith, right? Belief without evidence. Word to Coach Babers. And as we've seen now that it's a true developmental brand with multiple storylines, with now a partnership with the main event talent at WWE.
Mhm.
When they come down, it's not, yes, they are for one-offs, but you're seeing programs. You saw a program with Tiffany Stratton and Becky Lynch. Okay.
Yes.
You're about to see Johnny Gargano. You're seeing Wesley being pushed with Gargano coming down. We have my big homie, the Australian big homie.
Oh
Bronson Reed.
yeah,
Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed and Dijak in that qualifier match to get to Dirty Dom, who's holding that North American title, while also giving Dom the experience in the ring because he's still so young, but his character work is amazing. So how do you improve your ring work? By working. So being in NXT, being on the road in those house shows, which I really wish AEW really fully committed to, is those house shows, because that ring work is it's the body of work, baby. And what does the dream say? It's your body of work. Okay, that's gonna make you do what you do.
That's a good dream. That's a good dream.
Shout out to O for his Dusty Rhodes impersonation, bro. But yeah, no, you are absolutely right. And I think that one thing that AEW could benefit from is just like having a performance center, to be honest. I know that WWE capitalized on that, and that has helped them out tremendously as far as talent. We're seeing talent that have never wrestled before actually come in and be superstars, and it's crazy. And then we have those who are in the indies will come in and just be able to fit the WWE style more cleanly because of that performance center. So overall, if you have something like that, I think that will definitely help you in the long run. So I hope that AEW is able to capitalize on that, because even back in the day when WCW had the power plant, that was something that they used to get their wrestlers ready for
facts.
the main stage. So I highly
Goldberg.
suggest, if you are, if you're big enough and you have the money to do so, then invest in a center to where you can develop your wrestlers and have them to be able to perform. That in mind, of course, with AEW, I know it's a little freer right now as far as the style, and it's also a little dangerous because a lot of our favorites keep getting hurt because they just want to, wrestle the way that they want to, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, you just have to think about your lifespan, because granted, wrestling does shave years off your life, as we've seen. Shout out to Terry Funk. To be able to even get to 79/80 is amazing within the wrestling community, especially when we've had like wrestlers who've passed away at 40, 50, 60, and early 70. It's crazy. So I'm sitting here watching Ric Flair like, man, despite whatever Ric Flair's got going on in his personal life, because we all know that was a very controversial signing by AEW, I still look at him like, this man is like, what, 72, 73? And
I'm starting to think that Rick is immortal, because there ain't no way.
And now he up there, man. He is up there, but I guess it also just depends on how safe that you were throughout your career. Because I mean, Hulk Hogan is 70, and I don't really need to invoke his name, but I'm just throwing it, out there that he still is who he is, and he still seems to be alive and breathing. But still, wrestling does shave off years off your life. So but I do think that performance center, if AEW decides to invest in one, will definitely help out their talent, especially any new incoming talent that they have. But that's AEW signings is another pod for another time, because that's a whole pod within itself. We need to talk
I
about
can dive
Survivor
in.
Series.
Yeah, we could dive into AEW any time of the week.
Yeah.
And definitely because I got my thoughts and I talked to a bunch of folks on it. I'm not a consistent AEW, but I understand it and I know it. But that's for
Mhm.
another day. But you mentioned Styles, and to pivot right back into Survivor Series, and it's just, to me, Styles makes everything. Styles make matches, and of course, there's a certain wrestler in Survivor Series last night who has a style that's been the same wrestler for over 10 plus years, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And yet
Stuck
he
in.
is still, not only is he still over, not only is he consistent, not only is he safe and he's healthy, but yesterday, if you watch on his TikTok, he did his own little press conference for himself. He received a reaction that he did not expect, and that was the Miz. And that's my true
Mhm.
MVP of the
Yeah.
Survivor Series. But we're going to talk about that later. I'm going to let you run the ship, Ked. But I can't wait till we talk about these matches.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So with that, we are going to start by talking about Survivor Series War Games. And it was a great concept when WWE first brought it to NXT, and honestly, War Games has been a concept that kind of saved the Survivor Series program, because we all know how Survivor Series was in years past, and it honestly had not been exciting, or as exciting for years now. It's their second longest running program behind WrestleMania, and just you kind of knew what you were getting. Like, okay, it's gonna be SmackDown versus Raw. It's gonna be a 5-on-5 or a 4-on-4 elimination match. What else is new at this point? Who's going to be the survivor? Are they actually going to push the survivor or survivors? What's going to happen next? And it was kind of the same old wash, rinse, and repeat. But adding the War Game stipulation to Survivor Series last year, after Vince had temporarily stepped down, it kind of sparked my interest again. Like, oh my gosh, they're combining Survivor Series and War Games. Okay, now I'm locked in again, because I love War Games matches. Even back in the day with WCW, like that was something that
Talk
I
about
could
it.
appreciate it. So yes, sir, I was glad that they brought it back to start with NXT, and glad that they had pushed it on to Survivor Series. Now I do think that Survivor Series can benefit from adding the traditional 4-on-4 back, or 5-on-5 back, but not on a more on an inconsistent basis. Like, maybe throw that in there every other War Games match, or so on and so forth. But that's another topic for another day.
Can I piggyback off of that real
Yeah,
quick?
go ahead.
And just to speak about the old school Survivor Series way, what you saying, the classic way. I think I I agree, and also I guess like challenge it a tad bit if they decide to do that or bring back the classic matches. Because if you think about it from back in the day, when you did have the classic matches, it was like the old school Team USA versus Team UK, or it'll be
Mm-hmm.
and that was also during a time where, like, we know, 80s, 90s, it was like certain wars and shit were going on, or some particular political views and political issues, or the Canada versus the US. It was it was storylines in WWF at the time that Vince was definitely capitalizing on, about the country versus country situation, especially like
Yep.
with the Olympics was on during that time, like in '96 and stuff like that. They did all of those things. I think in today's 2023, you have to kind of like adapt. And I think War Games has
Mm-hmm.
done exactly what it needed to do, which was to adapt to today's times, because people like we talked about the word surprises earlier. People like surprises. People like
Yep.
to be wild. Like, that's what it is. It's not necessarily about the weapons anymore. It used to be like, remember the blood days. Like, I don't even care about blood. AEW has blood. I get it. It's not my biggest thing anymore. I want to see like really good wrestling now, because maybe
Yeah.
just because Jay Lee Trey is spoiled by New Japan, but putting the War Games into this and actually seeing good wrestling from WWE is big to me. I haven't seen this since cruiserweight days, so I'm like, everybody can wrestle right now. It feels like in WWE. Like I
And
haven't
I
seen a
Mhm.
think
bad performer yet. So it's
I
been
think
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Are you good, bro?
I think the thing is with what they're doing in WWE, they've been doing it for a long time, but really it's been especially highlighted in Triple H's era, is that on free TV they give you the sampler. You know what I'm saying? They give you the little bit. They let them run a little bit, and then when it comes to the premium live events, when you can't call them pay per views no more, the premium live events,
Mhm.
that's when they go all out. That's when they give them the freedom to stop holding back. And I think that because of the smaller shows, like I don't know if you guys have noticed, but every smaller show just about has been out of the country, and
Yeah,
they've been happy to receive them,
that's
like
true.
your backlashes or your paybacks and whatnot. They're other places, Money in the Bank, even Crown Jewel. Like these are shows that are out of the country, and performers are showing their ass off, and the crowds are happy to receive them. So the shows that normally aren't as big feel bigger than they normally would. And in wrestling, it's performers, it's moment, it's crowd, all meeting in one moment, and that's how we get a Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. That's how we get.
Preach.
That's how we get an Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. That's how we
Mhm.
get. Let me take another one. Gunther and Sheamus,
Shout out to
and
Gunther, man. I love Gunther
man,
so much.
Yeah.
greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time already.
No.
But
Full stop.
like it's not even a discussion. But yeah, like the WWE has been slowly been doing stuff for their smaller shows, so when they get to the bigger shows, it feels a lot grander than what it is, and that's why I
Mhm.
feel like War Games was such a spectacle that it was last night
And
because of those little things that they do.
Facts.
and I was at the when they brought War Games back. It was in Chicago. It was at the NXT show, and I was there. And I remember when Kevin Owens came out, I got to record. I popped because they had that little mystery moment. Then you heard his music, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Mhm.
I remember watching Pete Dunne go against in a four-way, then won the rights to battle Adam Cole the next day on the main show of
Baby,
Survivor Series. I remember
Baby.
watching. I remember watching Keith Lee at that moment being. I won't. I don't want to talk about it. I still get up. I still get frustrated.
come on,
Ah, man.
man.
Keith Lee
That
is
was
Yeah.
a
So
Keith Lee
that
is
was
a
Star
sore
Make
spot in
Performance.
WWE,
so
man.
won't
That
talk
was
about it, but in retrospect, I understand it. And also, I saw his latest promo, and if he's in shape, oh, watch out. Anyways, but no, I think the key thing with and to piggyback on and just tie a bow on everything that you guys just said, I think WWE recently, especially with Trips in charge, has done a great job of stabilizing the mid card. And when you're stabilized, when you have a stable mid card with consistent storylines, like in a way, I hear what Johnny says, what Jay Lee Trey says, excuse me, with the matches, and I think good matches to me are a bonus. I care about the story. I am
mhm,
invested into the story, and I can care. That's why I feel like, and speaking of a card, Roman Reigns wasn't even on this card, and I cared about the story. Roman
Mhm.
Reigns is the king of
mhm,
making the story work, no matter who he's
mhm.
facing. So, because you don't remember any Roman match, you remember them, but like you remember the story, and that's the same thing with Survivor Series this year. You remember the build up. Becky becoming part of the faces teams with the women. Both faces squads won, by the way.
Yeah,
The
they did.
Randy, the Randy Orton, the tease. Jay, main event Jay's face when he saw Orton. Tying back to the bloodline because he put him out. Put him out.
True.
Miz on his redemption. Gunther being just the final villain. Was Rhea Ripley being just
Being real, being real,
being,
dog. That's all
being
you gotta
her.
say.
So
Really,
Buddy
Rhea is a
Matthews, you lucky
mega
bastard.
star.
mhm. So
She is
like
a.
just no,
I'm
go ahead,
sorry.
JB.
JB.
I'm
No,
sorry. My
no,
bad. I can just talk about Rhea. I just like
yes.
mega.
Can we
And it's
please
not
talk
even. And
about
it's
her,
not even
please?
like. And it's not even like if I speak moment, but also if I speak. But for real, she is a star. Like her and Bianca, and her for them two and Raquel to come up at the same time, and just to see how Rhea has kind of taken off and have a life of her own after kind of being around and not being around, and then having her moment against Charlotte at WrestleMania in front of nobody, and then how that kind of killed her momentum, and having to rebuild that and rebuild her character and become the Nightmare and join the Judgment Day and essentially be the leader of that group and basically just being the Judgment Day's run Monday Night Raw for like the last like 3 to 4 months, and
That's a
her being
fact.
the centerpiece of all of that is just chef's kiss for what they've done to her, and she's not even the peak of who she can be yet. So I was just having a little moment when you mentioned her because I'm so
Nah,
proud
man.
and so happy for her.
I
Not
love
to
Rhea,
mention,
bro.
of course, that whole the fact that she got to run it back with Charlotte at WrestleMania in front of a live crowd and put on one of the best performances at WrestleMania in ever almost. Like it is widely regarded as one of the best women's matches ever. Like even next to Bianca and at the time Sasha. So it's really just a full circle moment for her for her to be able to come into her own to the point where like she's really one of the only members of the Judgment Day that will get cheered even if she's being, a full-on heel. Like they absolutely love Rhea. So I totally 100% agree with you. But to O's point, yeah, just with as far as like character work and as far as storylines, when you have great wrestling, that's good. But if you can have, good wrestling and great storylines blended in together, I think WWE is really starting to cook with that. And as he said, he's strengthening the mid card because right now, like the upper card for SmackDown, it's clearly Roman is completely at the top and he's currently not on TV at the moment, but still he is the pinnacle that you have to reach. And I think most of us know where that's going to end up being at WrestleMania 40. But still, just having all of these actual storylines that you care about, like we got the LWO storyline, which we're going to get to in a little bit. You've got the
Man,
issue with the Judgment Day still going on. You've got the storyline of who's going to beat Gunther and who's going to challenge next for the Intercontinental Championship. You've got the inner workings of Imperium. Maybe, things are not as green as they are within Imperium itself. Just all of the storylines within WWE seem to be, cooking one way or another. So I'm just looking forward to seeing what happens on Raw. That being said, let me go ahead and run this back. So Survivor Series War Games, we start with the Women's War Games match. And as we all know, it's the faces versus the heels. We've got the face team of Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and Bianca Belair versus the team of Damage Control, which includes Asuka, Kairi Sane, Io Sky, and Bailey. And we all know Dakota Kai is still technically on the shelf, but I'm also glad that they're including her in this storyline as well. Even though she can't wrestle, she's still very much involved in the creative, and that's a great thing to have. What we're going to do, of course, is we're going to kind of give our grades on the matches themselves and kind of how we felt about the match and what that does going forward. So for me, this match was an A. I was pleasantly surprised with what the women were able to do within this match, and hats off to them because they came in as the opener match and absolutely fucking killed it. It was phenomenal to see. Io did the spot where she was in the trash can yet again and leapt from the top of the cage to
that's a
wipe
fact.
everybody out.
Peak.
And it's like, dang, you see it a second time, but it still don't get old. So I'm like, oh damn, this shit about to cook for real, for real. You had to leading up to that point, you had her dropping the chain down and Dakota actually hooking up the trash can so she could pull it up to the top and put it on. You've had the incident where Bailey, we were talking about it on the internet if you were in the wrestling community about how, pretty much this is kind of a setup for everybody to turn on Bailey. And yeah, she took the bullet for just about everybody, but she was also the one who lost the match. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. But still, the introduction of of course, we knew that weapons were going to be involved. You had your kendo sticks, you had the trash cans, you had the trash can lid, you had the chairs, you had the one
Table.
spot where, yeah, the table. Of course, they finally brought in the table because the audience was begging for it. And Asuka was just like, "Oh, you want the table? Oh, okay." And actually did, what the audience asked, which I thought she was going to swerve the audience, but she was like, "Nope," she just threw it in there. So, had the whole crowd chanting, "Thank you, Asuka." It was amazing to see. You had the fire extinguisher moment as well, where Asuka actually tried to miss someone again, missed, and Bianca came and actually hit her with the fire extinguisher. I thought that was great storytelling as well. Like, oh, I've been a victim of this miss too many times. I got something for your ass.
Great
Uh,
callback.
yes, very,
Great
very great
callback for
callback.
sure.
And just overall seeing the reuniting of Charlotte and Becky. I'm pretty sure that they're still ironing out some stuff real time as as real individuals, but just seeing them to be able to like get in the match and actually hug it out, I was like, oh, feel good moment, man. We got to turn around because they were rivals for a long time inside and out the ring, and now we actually get a full circle moment seeing them on the same page once again. So it was really a really feel good match. A lot of people were saying that it would hurt Damage Control if they lose, and I'm like, if Bailey takes the pin, that's not gonna hurt them because that gives them reason to actually kick her out the group. So it's gonna be interesting how this plays out because Bailey, in my opinion, needs another face turn. I haven't seen Bailey as a face in so long, and I kind of want to see that her do a face again. She really surprised me as a great heel when that did happen because we were all begging for it. But now I do want to see a Bailey face run again. So yeah, this was an A for me. This is an excellent match. Any comments?
No, I got just one thing. My favorite spot, truly. Um, I am one of Charlotte Flair's like biggest fans. Like secretly, I don't really be super out with it. But her doing that moonsault from the top of the cage never
Yes.
gets old, bro. That never gets old for me. Um, and to your point too, kid, like with her and Becky, like definitely hugging it out was a great feel good moment. I do think the trash can portion was fire as hell. Like we're just seeing things, and also I gave the match an A as well. But we're just seeing things from the women's division that, like, I know if the women are fighting, I'm tuned in. Like it doesn't matter, and it's been like this for a few years now for me. And we're just seeing this. I mean, and then we already know who's still to come. I mean, Jade ain't fought yet.
She has.
Jade ain't fought yet.
Yeah. I have a theory on that too.
Yeah, same. Me too.
Same.
Me too as well. I want to get the same one, JB. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
But yeah, like it's so much to come from this women's division. I future tag team champions. I can see Becky and Charlotte getting that for sure. I can definitely see it happening. It kind of wrote for itself here at Survivor Series, or at least gave us the preview or maybe the inkling of it possibly happening. The double figure four / armbar moment was fire between her and Becky. They almost won the match off that hoe too. And I was thoroughly impressed with this match. Like, War Games is always fun, but when the women are able to just lay it all on the line, to JB's point earlier, where they're just like these premium live events is where they kind of just let go and do what the hell they want to do and just choreograph crazy shit. I love this shit. So yeah, it's to me 100% 5-star match. Not no Dave Meltzer type shit, but
6 stars in the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah, like this shit is ridiculous.
6.75.
Right, like this shit is definitely for me like a 5 for sure. A 5 out of 5. This shit was fire. I love every second of it.
Absolutely.
All right. You want to go first?
Yeah, I give the match a B. I think only reason why I give it a B is I think I'm waiting for the payoff, as Ked was talking about earlier. I think the ladies did a great job. I think the trash can spot is always going to be perfect for future memes, especially for me because I love my quality mid. So when the quality mid comes to my timeline, I'm jumping into that hole. So multiple memes to come. So, but I give it a B more so. I do feel like, to me, I'm more of a fan of what they do to build up to Rhea. We'll talk about that later for projections going into the year. So there is multiple storylines that can happen. There's multiple ways you could take it with the women's tag title picture. You can also go with where's Bianca going in this? She's returned. We saw shades of her going heelish, or maybe more. Hey, I'm her to an extent, and of course you have Jay coming down the road too as well. Who I'm perfectly fine if Jay goes to NXT too. So that's one thing that isn't spoken on.
I don't think she is.
I don't think. I mean, I think she can go everywhere.
Yeah.
But ain't nothing wrong getting that experience because she's still pretty green. She's green as money, but she's also green.
No, that's facts. And I think just to make a quick comment on that, I do think that someone had mentioned, I think it was Triple H who said that through no fault of her own, she was limited, and they were just like, yeah, she's still very green because again, AEW doesn't have a performance center, so it's like she just got through with the Cody Rhodes Nightmare Factory School and then immediately got thrown into the ring, and it's like she
worked hard. She was training with Bryan Danielson, and every morning, like they said, she was a super hard worker, and she's a natural athlete. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, and to her credit, she's gotten better, but now there needs to be that element of we can't we want to be sure that you can have a match without having to do too much hiding, because you could tell that, when a lot of wrestlers carry within WWE, if their opponent isn't as well versed or as well experienced in the ring, that sometimes they can cover for them and hide their faults and whatnot. WWE does a great job of doing that, but I think they want to make sure that there are no mistakes being made with Jade when it comes to that. So, props to them if they continue to train her. Please, whether it's they debut her at the Rumble or if they debut her at WrestleMania, take all the time that you need. She's gonna be money. She's gonna be a star regardless.
Yeah, and I think as far as performers go last night, Shotzi and Dom are the only ones that are really inexperienced.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot of
True.
veteran presence from last night. But women's wrestling is incredible, and wrestling as a whole is better when women's wrestling is thriving. And overall, I give that War Games match a B plus. For all the reasons you guys have said, but I think one thing we have to highlight and really just like put a spotlight on, because I don't think she gets enough credit, is Bailey. Bailey has been the women's
True.
MVP since the pandemic. She
Yes.
has put her back on the division, and then when the crowds came back, she had tore her ACL like the week before, and just missed Mania, missed everything. But it's still, as she come back, it's just been like a stalwart.
Mm-hmm.
And even there's a performer last night when it comes to storytelling, she was doing the heavy lifting. As times like her, and even in the post match, her post match interview, taking shots for the team, directing traffic, breaking up pinfalls, taking the hit, and then eating the pin. And that's just a microcosm of everything that she has been doing for WWE for the last few years, and she doesn't get enough credit. And she is a phenomenal performer. I think she's very unsung, and she's one of those performers that we take for granted.
She was always considered the unsung hero of the four horsewomen. Like when it came to those four, she was the underrated underdog. But she was always, in my opinion, the one who carries a lot of what we miss when it comes to the four horsewomen. She does a lot of behind the scenes work, and as you said, since the pandemic, she has really just been that workhorse. Even when she tore her ACL, she was still trying to carry the flag and the banner for the women's division. And hats off to Bailey for that. Another unsung hero that we, in my opinion, or rather, I ain't gonna say unsung hero, another story element that I should have mentioned, of course, was Kairi Sane. Obviously, the history between Kairi Sane and Bailey. When they released Kairi from the cage, she took her time getting to the ring, while Bailey was, of course, getting pretty much, for lack of a better term, jumped. So I'm like, that's actually great storytelling, because she's not rushing to the ring to help her partner. She's taking her sweet ass time. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I wonder what that could mean. So, and it's crazy because Bailey was the one who ate the spear that was meant for Kyrie. So it'll be interesting to see how that storyline plays off. But definitely hats off to the women. They really, really, really did their thing.
Can I add one more thing about Bailey real quick before we move?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is just my own personal. I was not a fan of Bailey years ago. I wasn't. Like even during like the Bianca time and Sasha Banks, all the other stuff. I was not a big fan. I thought she was just like super, super small to me. Even with the whole floaty thing, I thought it was corny. I ain't gonna lie. I did really did. But she has won me over with this heel turn. And on top of that, like have y'all noticed since the ACL injury, she done put on some muscle?
Yeah.
Not Pam with the abs, she's just thick.
Bro, I
Oh
don't
my
know what
gosh.
it is. I don't know what it
That is
is,
a
bro.
blessed woman, bro.
Bro, I said, hold on. Bailey, excuse me? Like, you, all right. And I just wanted to point that out. Like, to me, she looks a lot more athletic, a lot more better to me, like, when it comes down to in-ring performance. And also, like, the fact, I'm actually rewatching while I'm watching this R-Truth moment with the potato chips just happened.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like, Bailey, listen, I'm a fan now for sure. I kind of don't want her to get kicked out of Damage Control. That'd be really sad for me. But at the same time, Bailey does, I guess, quote unquote, do better as like a face. But I do like her as a heel. I enjoy her a lot more as a heel. But that's just me. I just wanted to point that out about how WWE can make people, or the wrestler can actually make you change your opinion just because of a simple thing as a face or a heel change. Like it's just it's really
No,
good.
very,
Yeah.
very much so, man. In all honesty, yeah, Bailey has done excellent heel work. So, now I think it's time for her to, go back to being a face, whether it's, super quick or gradually. I do want to get that face experience again. But to your point, yeah, man, when she tore ACL, she definitely put on some muscle, and of course JP paying with the yams, bro. 10
Damn with
out
the
of 10.
yams.
For those who don't know, Bailey's real name is Pamela Martinez. So
That's
yes,
a fact.
And with the
and with
yams.
the yams is 100% spot on. Um, I am looking forward to seeing what happens in the women's division next. Because if my question is going to be who is next in line for EO's championship, because that's why I said maybe it might be Bailey, because if they turn on her, that gives Bailey a reason to go after the championship, without
Royal
her
Rumble, maybe?
necessarily turning
You
on
could do that at
him.
Mania. You could do that at
Yeah,
Mania.
you could do that. Yeah, you could. You really could. So we'll see. We will see what
Not
happens,
not
man.
Rumble. Y'all say Mania, not Rumble.
Um, you could drag it out if you wanted to. You could do it at the Rumble if you wanted to.
Because
But Bailey
isn't
leaving?
Backlash in December, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No,
No.
February.
Backlash is usually after. Backlash is after Mania.
So what is the pay per view for this month for December? Like,
So they're not. They're actually not going to do one
There's
this
not
month.
one.
There's no more. Next one is Rumble.
Yeah. Unless you count the NXT ones, that is deadline. That's the only one that's going to be in December.
I'll be tuned in. Don't matter what.
Yeah.
Listen, NXT, I'm there, bro. I don't care
Yes,
what it is.
sir. Yes, sir. So, yeah, the next one after this is the next main roster one is going to be Rumble, and then it's Elimination Chamber, which happens in Australia.
That's the
And
one.
then yeah, I think that after that it's just gonna go straight to Mania.
Crown Jewel.
Oh, they're doing another Crown Jewel. I thought they already
They
did
do it.
one.
Yeah, they got two. Yeah, two a year.
Oh well, shit.
Two
They gotta
Crown
get that
Jewels a
Saudi
year?
money.
Collect that check.
They gotta get that Saudi money.
I know that they went to. I know that they were going to Saudi twice. I just didn't know that they were doing another Crown Jewel at least until later. But okay, well, all right then. That's
That's a
another.
multi-year deal.
Yeah, yes, it is. That's another conversation for another time. Okay. As they mentioned before, we did have R-Truth returning in that in the Ruffles advert.
What's
Of
up?
course, yeah.
What's up?
It's glad to see R-Truth back in the fold, man. Because after that injury on NXT, I really, really was hurting for that man. And granted, he's over 50 at this point, but he could still go. And just to see him on the shelf was really disheartening. But I'm glad that he's back. He has very, very entertaining. Like, you can ask R-Truth to do anything, and he will absolutely do it and knock it out the park no matter what. And he'll find a way to make you laugh one way or the other. So hats off to him, man. That is, I'm glad to see him back in the fold one more time. And then following that, of course, we got our Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and The Miz. Now, I did give this match a B. I think that the match was really, really done well. And for storyline purposes, it showed us two things. Like, one, the Miz is still not appreciated enough.
Preach.
And granted, is he my favorite wrestler? No, but still, the man has worked hard for the almost 20 years that he's been with WWE now. He is really truly has put in the work to come up with his own style, and it actually makes for very entertaining sports entertainment or wrestling. Like, he really does what he has to do to, whether it's to play against the crowd or to play into the crowd. I know we all consider Miz a much better heel than he is a face, but
Preach.
this was still a very good match with him being a tweener, I guess, because he still used heel tactics technically. So seeing him be in that role was refreshing, because some people, it gets stale after a while, and getting a change of character or character motivations actually does help, you maintain longevity within the business. So definitely hats off to him. He, him working with Gunther actually made for a very great match. We all know Gunther can run with anybody. You could put him in a match with Gobbledygooker for all we fucking care, and he'll still make that shit a 4-star, 5-star match. So I'm just saying.
And I gotta go get food real quick. I'll just say real quick, Gunther is the MVP going into next year, and he needs to be positioned as the next either Universal Champion. Like maybe he went and damn near the distance in the Rumble last year, but
Mm-hmm.
Gunther is the final villain, and he will be positioned. Whoever gets the Intercontinental title might be Chad Gable. Whoever they push the storyline, they're going to be over because of Gunther being so
Yes,
him. And 2024, 2025 is going to be the year. Gunther, you heard it here first on the Chaotic Culture podcast. He will have a
indeed.
championship by either Mania 25 or the end of next year. He'll have a world title.
Hey,
Great match. Give it a B plus. Mainly because Miz doesn't do anything special. He just works,
Yep.
and
oh,
that's all you can.
I got something for you. Oh, to cut the thing on a potential WrestleMania match between Gunther and Ilya Dragunov. Run it back.
And
Every,
not for Mania, not yet, not enough money in Ilya yet, but I do love it. That's a good pay-per-view match, but Mania's got to be for your butts in the seats. So take that Mania match and put it to the PLE they have in France, or was it Germany or
Oh,
France? They got a show coming up, and
Germany.
I'll give you that one, but not for Mania yet. Ilya is still he's not over to a mainstream audience yet.
Okay.
yeah, I think when Ilya does get that main roster call, though, I think that he, when they eventually do run it back, first at a smaller event, to O's point, I think is the where you start. But I do want to see them at Mania at some point or another run that back because every match that they've had, both of them have never had a bad match. Like I've never seen a bad Ilya match, or I've never seen a bad Gunter
Facts.
match, but those matches that they've had together, I've literally have been absolutely glued to the TV like, yo, what the F is about to happen, yo, for real, for real. And somehow or another, they make that shit work. They work really well together. So I do want to eventually see that on the big stage. Not right now, of course, we got to work through it, but yeah. Um, yes, sir. Gunter, I think really again he could put anybody, he can make a bad opponent look really great. And Miz is not a bad opponent, as we said. Miz does nothing special, he just works. And with that in mind, the match that they had from a storyline perspective and from storytelling perspective actually really made me engage. Like, okay, I know we just came off a hot war games match, but now we're seeing this, and we're actually seeing actually rooting for the Miz to see if he can conquer the unconquerable. Though we know that was not going to happen, it still made you root for him because of the things that he was able to do. So, granted, I definitely appreciate Miz for making this a very entertaining match, and of course, as always, I appreciate Gunther, especially busting out the Walls of Jericho / Boston Crab, and then going into the Lion Tamer to get the tap out win. I thought that was a neat shout out to Chris Jericho, because we all know, Chris Jericho has the most reigns as Intercontinental Champion within WWE, and even got mentioned at Survivor Series. So I was like, oh. Well, we know that at least when Triple H took over, that forbidden door isn't as forbidden anymore. But because when Vince was at the helm, it's like the only thing that exists is WWE and nothing else.
You know
But
what's
still,
interesting about that? Like to
what's
that
up?
point, and that's like a little side thing. Like I wanted to. We probably had to do a part two for this too, to get more into like the intricacy of it all. But there's more people that are in this business, whether it's at the top or even just the wrestlers, that are more friends than enemies. Like it's not an
Mm-hmm.
AEW versus WWE thing. It's more so of like we seen the transfer of like talent, right? So obviously one surprise went this way to WWE, the other one being Edge, and now Edge and Christian are back together again on AEW, which is actually a
Mm-hmm.
really good story over there. So it's like it's just cool to see that like Chris Jericho got mentioned to your point, because he's one of the greatest ICs ever, bro.
Yeah.
Like ever. And you can't, some people like to discredit Chris Jericho for some reason. I don't know why, but he hasn't had a belt at any federation he's been at. If you think about it, he hasn't not had one. He had one in
Mm-hmm.
New Japan for that little small little time. He had one in WCW. He had one in WWE. He definitely had one in AEW a couple of times. It's like anywhere he goes, he's won.
Yep.
Like he's a wrestling legend, like one of the best, bro. And I just want to just show some props and tip my hat off to Chris Jericho, bro. Like I used to like kind of dislike him as the Lionheart when I was younger, but like you got to appreciate even him still going through the motions and going through the ups and downs of wrestling still to this day. Like he's still consistent. And like always say, you don't have to be perfect, but consistently great. And
I,
he's been consistently great, bro. Like it
I
don't change.
Yeah.
reference Chris Jericho. Well, rather, excuse me, I reference Kanye West as the Chris Jericho in rap because all Kanye does is reinvent himself, and that's all Chris has done, and that's how he's been able to stay
Facts.
relevant. That's how he's been
Hmm.
able to maintain his presence. That's how he's been able to maintain just being around despite his age and now his obvious physical limitations. Like Chris Jericho is just so just like everything that Jay said. Like he's unappreciated, he's undervalued. People don't talk about him enough, and he should be on a lot of people's Mount Rushmore if he's not.
I
I
agree
just, I
so
just jumped. I
much.
just jumped back then. Who are we discussing?
Oh,
Just
Jericho
Oh,
Holics.
giving props to Chris Jericho.
armbar.
God bless.
Now the thing is, see,
Listen,
personal politics aside about Chris
yes,
Jericho, like he is like one of the greatest to ever do it.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, Jericho. I mean Jericho's Jericho. He reinvents himself, and Judas. He got his own song over, and he can cut a promo, and he is a staple and a necessary program in the AEW. Like I watch his programs because he actually builds a story. He understands that. But outside of that, yeah. Next.
no, for real though. Like personal politics aside, Jericho is a legend. Like you can't really deny that from him. It's the same thing with a lot of wrestlers. A lot of wrestlers that we love in the ring, outside the ring, we looking at y'all like, yeah. But
Undertaker.
don't bring that up, man. But I knew, but it was just like, damn, when I saw his special and I saw that shirt, I was just like, I should have known. He lives in Texas. Like,
He is 7 foot tall, white boy from Texas. Yeah,
yeah,
that makes
yeah,
perfect sense.
yeah. It makes sense, but you're just like, damn. But anyway, with that, like the match was very entertaining. I'm glad that we got a chance to see that. The next match I actually thought was too short, but still really good for the time that they allotted for them. We got Santos Escobar versus Dragon Lee. Now, if you
Escobar.
yes, now if you've been following the story, obviously you know that Santos betrayed Ray, left the LWO, and is a full blown heel now. And it seems like with with the heels that turn on Rey Mysterio, literally get at this point nuclear heat. Like if you turn on Ray, that's instant nuclear heat.
That's
Uh,
forbidden Mexican law, brother. You can't do that.
yep. Between Dominic Mysterio being booed out of every building that he's in and Santos coming in, you got the audience actually screaming out F you Santos and calling him culero, for those who don't know that's asshole. Throughout the match, that should tell you something like, oh yeah, he turned on Ray. That was it. No, he about to get absolute nuclear heat. He coming to the building. He about to get on the mic, and folk are probably going to like try to drown him out again, just as they do Dominic. But if you didn't see that heel promo that he gave the week after he turned,
I hope you get your leg amputated. I hope you get an
right.
infection.
I was just sitting there like, well, damn, Santos, like, shit. Wow. Okay, we going there. Okay, I see where they going, but yeah, it was crazy. But I knew that this match was going to be good. Again, I just wish it was going to be a little longer. That's why I can really only give it like a B minus, because if they were given more
Same.
time, it really could have been like almost an A match. But again, they weren't given enough time. They had the time that they were given, and they had to work with it. So they had to kind of go a little quick. Santos slowed it down a little bit and showed that he was the dominant heel in the spots. But then we saw flashes of brilliance with Dragon Lee doing that head scissors takedown off the apron. You saw him do that sit out power bomb that he always does. It was just, he's just an amazing, absolute amazing performer. And if you've never seen Dragon Lee like perform or wrestle, do yourself a favor and go look up some of his matches. But dude is a monster. So whenever, and I see what WWE is doing. They slowly but surely like, hey, look, he's gonna be the next one up. I think we found the next Ray, and here he is. Like, this is the next big, Mexican. I don't want to say Mexican. He's the next big Hispanic baby face, and Santos is going to be the next big Hispanic heel.
Luchador.
So, yeah,
Luchador. You say
these are your
Lucha.
folk. Yeah, yeah, there we go. And then the thing is, like, Santos Escobar is also a luchador. Like, before he came back, well, whether he was in WWE or not before then, he wrestled with the mask and without the mask. So he's styled in luchador as well.
Speed.
So when you've got those two luchadors together, it's really like, yo, we really getting lucha wrestling again in WWE, and I love to see it. You saw flashes of Santos wrestling the WWE style, but then every now and again he reaching his bag and like, nope, I'm gonna do this luchador move. Like, the man pulled off a Canadian destroyer, or as Corey Graves like to call it, the South of the Border Destroyer in this case.
The South
Uh,
of the Border Destroyer. I hate when he say that, bro.
I do too.
Ew,
It
I
make
was
me
just like, bro,
cringe.
just call it a destroyer or a Canadian destroyer. But I mean,
please.
it is what it is. But still, seeing him bust that out when Dragon Lee was trying to hit his finisher and then hit him with the Phantom Driver, which once again, please make the Michinoku Driver a finisher again. Shout out to Lyra Valkyria for doing that on the last NXT. Uh, I thought that was a brilliant end. You can't have Santos not win because he literally just turned heel, and the loss does not hurt Dragon Lee because, again, he's still a newcomer and he's still trying to, find his way. And then for the little time that they gave him, it's like, again, the match doesn't hurt him because we saw flashes of what he could really do, and you like, oh, I need to see them run that back. So definitely shout out to the both of them for putting on a stellar match. Again, B- because it needed more time, but still a good match.
Great
A
match.
minus as well.
Yeah, I mean, nothing much to add on. I think the key thing is definitely finding that next big Hispanic star is huge for WWE. I love Santos's work back from the NXT days. I used to call him the drip god on the culture back on our wrestling podcast. Whistle while you drip. I do think it's a great opportunity for him because not only can he speak, he has great emotions and facials in the ring, which is a unwritten art. Like, if you can't have your
Mm-hmm.
face in the ring, what's the purpose of it? And then Dragon Lee was able to be showcased on a higher level, and I think he had great matches with Shelton. If you've been watching the SmackDown matches,
Yes.
he's adjusting to the style. And we all remember Mystico. My bad, Mystico. We all remember Sin Cara and his adjustment issues. And I think it was great to see that Dragon Lee was able to work with an American right away, because normally sometimes the language barrier, you'll see him paired up with someone from the same heritage to help him with that adjustment. But for him to be able to go out and wrestle with Cedric right away, and they ran it back, shows he's comfortable in the ring and he can
Mm-hmm.
adjust to a lot of people. So super excited for the future. Definitely see him as a mid-card champion by 2025, US title reign, as he builds up.
I'm gonna give the match a C plus. The match only ran for 7 minutes 40 seconds. Not a
Mm-hmm.
lot of time, as you guys alluded to earlier. Um, Santos, obviously, it was telegraphed that Santos was going to win. He had to win. And for the reasons that it was said earlier, like Dragon Lee can afford the loss now. It's pretty early for him as they're trying to establish him. They're trying to establish Santos as a heel, as a dominant heel. So
Yep.
losses for him are going to be few and far in between for the next little while until Ray can get his lick back. And he was still, I think he should go overall, right? But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, not enough time. The chemistry is there, and if they afforded more time, and maybe this wasn't a first meeting, maybe they can do a little bit more. But yeah, C plus for me.
Okay. Okay. That brings us to the next match, the Women's World Championship match between Zoe Stark and, of course, the champion Rhea Ripley.
Do
Now,
we have to talk
admittedly,
about this?
it's- I'm gonna speak on it real quick because, again, we all knew what was gonna happen. We all knew Rhea wasn't dropping the title. It's not that time
Hell
yet.
no.
Yeah, Zoe is not the one who is going to dethrone Rhea. Like, it's got to be somebody else or somebody big name. We'll see what happens when the Rumble comes through. Uh, that's pretty much what it boils down to. Rhea has been dominant in every match that she's had, but she's been able to at least make people look good in defeat.
Facts.
Granted, I wasn't sold on Zoe Stark. I knew she was a hard worker, but I just wasn't sold exactly, and still kind of not sold on her character yet. But still,
Mm.
her in-ring acumen is still pretty impressive with what she's been able to do thus far. So I was just like, okay, I really want to watch this match just to see what Zoe is going to do and how she's going to, perform. And ultimately, it was not a bad match by any stretch. It could have been better, but yeah, maybe, but it still, was a decent match. But we all know what ended up happening. We all know that Zoe did try her best to stay out of trying to get caught in the riptide, but eventually she did get caught with it. After Rhea had reversed the Z360 and then hit her with the riptide, and then that was it. That was all she wrote. So this match here is C plus. It could have used maybe a little more time, but I think we kind of knew what we were getting with this match. Like, it was just kind of like, okay, we're just going to feed somebody else to Rhea and continue to build up the mystique behind Rhea Ripley until there is a viable champion that can actually knock her off. So yeah, that's kind of
Jay,
all I got to say about that. Wait, what'd you say? Oh, you said
no,
that Miss
no,
Cargill. Okay, I got you.
I ain't say nothing, bro.
All right, I feel you. I feel you. Any other
With
comments?
recipients. Oh yeah, yeah. Pretty much what you said. There's always one of those people for me personally is like one of those personal politics thing type deals. But she can go.
Yeah.
She can go. Like from day one, from when she stepped into her work before she joined WWE, she's proven she can go. It's just for me, and I think for you as well, based on how you what you said, she has the personality of wet paint,
Yeah.
and she has the character work of a child actor. Like she's not that good in those departments, and it kind of
Hmm.
oozes, and it kind of takes away from her in-ring performance. But last night, as of this recording, last night was basically just to see if she can hang, and she can hang on a big stage, and she can. Um,
Yeah.
she just needs to find that character. She needs to find that thing that people can gravitate towards, and people can latch onto and be like, "Hey, I like her for this reason." That's not just what she can do in the ring, because that's what's going to put butts in seats. That's what's going to help people draw. That's going to help her draw. But yeah, we all knew the outcome was going to be for Rhea. Rhea, anytime she gets to perform, anytime she gets to like show what kiss what she can do, like WWE's winning because she is a star. She is the biggest women's star on Monday Night Raw, and it's not even close. It is
Shit,
her
might
show.
might be top two in the country in the company, bro.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I don't know about that one, brother. She close. She up there.
I'm
She up there.
listen
You talking about Rhea?
between.
Yeah, Rhea.
Yeah. We were saying, like, look, as far as like at the top of the company between Rhea, Becky, Bianca,
Charlotte.
Charlotte, and Becky, like, those are the top five right now.
That's what I'm saying. But
Correct.
I think she top two though. I think Rhea has it, bro. It's something. It ain't got nothing to do with the looks, nothing how good she looks to me or whatever. I just, bro, we haven't seen like a women dominance like that since Charlotte. I want to see her and Charlotte go
But
again.
Bianca.
No,
But
that's real.
Bianca.
That's real. Oh,
But okay, yeah,
I
Bianca.
meant to say this.
we have the Bianca thing. We have the Bianca thing coming though for sure.
Yeah,
And Bianca is
he was in the top as well. I just meant to
yeah,
throw that out there. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. It's just I don't know, bro. It's to me when I look at those, and thank you for bringing up EOS too. Like when I think of those women, it's like you put them in a 5-way match, bro. Just go for it all. Combine the belts and just make it happen. Like that would be cool to me. That's okay. Like I don't know. You can't you whoever your favorite is, you can go with that. But it's also like they're all just really good. But Rhea has something that I think some of the other ones don't really kind of focus on. She has like the out the ring marketing thing a little bit. Like
Hmm.
I
Agreed.
watch her a lot on Instagram, and I'm like, damn, Rhea, like you kind of understand what it takes. And she takes the mommy persona stuff and takes it to even off camera, where it's now on the social media portion where she uses it to her advantage. And I'm like, yeah, this is she understands the business. That's why I like her so much, really, honestly.
And her folding her opponents up for pins, she knows exactly what
She
she's
knows
doing.
exactly what she's doing.
That never gets old, man. Ever since the first time she did it, I'm like, yo, okay, Rhea, I see what you're doing. All right, ma'am, you got it. You 100% got this, man. All
You
right.
think Hunter don't know like he has a muscle mommy on the squad and kind of
Oh,
can get
Right,
away with that?
right.
I think he's known since NXT UK what Rhea was capable of.
I
A
think he
goth
knows since
muscle
China.
mommy with a, for lack of a better term, for a little bitch boy cuck under her back pocket. Yeah, Hunter knows. And
Mm-hmm.
mommy's always on top.
It's
Yeah,
crazy, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he know what
barely.
he doing.
that's money. Money.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Money and
man.
merch,
So
because she got not only woman merch, she got man merch too.
Hmm.
yeah.
Like
And she got
that's
men and women willing to fold like origami over her ass.
for those who listen
Hey.
to this podcast right now. If you don't really know who we're talking about, particularly, uh, Rhea Rhea Ripley Ripley. Uh, Once you look up the name, you'll understand why we're talking like this. Because we've watched her for a while, but like what she's doing now, the marketing is great, bro. I gotta give it to her. Gotta give it to her. She know what the fuck she doing, and Hunter let her do it. Hunter is letting her do it. It's like, damn, bro. Okay, like you got the keys right now. That's why I like her so much. She just do what the fuck she wants.
Mm-hmm.
Also hit up her TikTok
But
or look her
listen,
up on TikTok.
And
oh,
I'll just say that finish it up. Like I saw her at War Games NXT when she was the lead team captain versus Shayna Baszler. I
Mm-hmm.
watched that in Chicago, and just to see her growth now to this War Games Survivor Series pay per view in Chicago now, um, she is number one in the company. You guys are saying top two, top three. She's one. She's positioned as one. She's booked as one. She's her, and I'm excited. Like I said, I do think, of course, and we'll talk about it later on. There's two potential main events for night one and night two, but there's a potential that Rhea, pending the story, can main event Mania next year as well. But that's for another pod for another day.
agreed.
Mm.
Agreed. No argument there. No argument there. Okay, moving on to the final match on the card and the surprise at the end. The men's Survivor Series War Games match. Now, instead of it being 4-on-4, this one was 5-on-5, just like it was last year. In this match, of course, you had the Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, and of course, the return of Randall Keith Orton.
Randall Keith Orton.
Hey, gotta throw the whole name out there, man. But WWE, I gotta say, as their marketing, because with the surprise at the end, it was not known, what was going to happen until literally like the week of. They had to preface it, and I'm glad that they did this, so that way they couldn't keep this mystery partner in. They couldn't do what was previously done, where it was the other team versus damn, I'm just like when it was again the original NXT War Games and whatnot,
Kevin
and it was the
Owens,
other team. Yeah, when Kevin Owens popped up for
Undisputed
the other
Era.
team versus Undisputed Era, yeah, it was like, okay, you could make the surprise there, and then everybody would be like, oh, okay. This you couldn't do that because of that lingering thing on the outside. Like, okay, yeah, we're trying to get ahead of this, so they did an excellent job of, hey, let's just go ahead and announce him so that way we don't disappoint our audience, and then that could lead to a whole other kind of backlash. So they announced him, of course, at the end of Raw as the mystery partner. So we all knew that he was coming, but throughout the night they were playing of, is he going to show up? Is he going to show up? Kind of game. And Seth Rollins telling Cody, "Hey, I trust you. I trusted you. You better come through with the entire night." So you have that element there, and of course you have the storyline of Drew. He's a heel, but he doesn't see himself as that. He's just seeing himself as trying to get vengeance on Jey Uso because Jey Uso was part of the bloodline and kept him from getting taking the championship from Roman. So he's been, traumatized by that, and now he just wants revenge. And the looks that he was giving Jey all night, I'm like, dog, he looks like he's just a scorned ex, just waiting to get revenge.
Hey
Like,
man, Drew is right. Drew was right.
I mean, yeah, he's justified. And the thing is, throughout the match, um, he even said to Jay, like, "Oh, I didn't even get an apology." It's like, damn, Jay, all you had to do was just say sorry and try to make it up to him when you came, and that could have killed the whole thing. Instead, we didn't get that, and people just wanted Drew to just kind of live with it, and he was like, he's not for that. So clearly, he was justified in his feelings towards Jay. But I just love the little storylines that's going on, because in the past somebody who was a heel that did another person wrong would just turn face, and then all of a sudden, oh, they're a buddy again. That's not the case here, because if we want to get really started with that, Cody and Seth, with their matches when Cody came back in 2022, had 3 matches back to back, which Cody won. And these two don't see eye to eye, even with Seth being a face now. It's like, yeah, we still don't like each other, just because Seth is a face now. We have to agree for agreement's sake. And you can tell within the match that, hey, this is what's going on. So the fact that, Jay is a face now, okay, cool, but that still doesn't resolve everything that he did when he was a heel. Long-term storyline, baby. Like that's
Yep.
what we asked for. Like that long-term storytelling in wrestling. So naturally with that, Drew was just like, I don't accept that just because he's a face now, that I have to be friends with this dude. No, he cost me the championship. Like I want to get it back. I'm trying to get this shit back in blood. So, okay, I'm gonna be locked in the cage with this man. All right, cool. I'm gonna join the bad guys here, and I'm gonna get my shit back in blood. So I definitely get the storyline element with that. And of course, you have the Judgment Day with, who is the true leader of the Judgment Day, and it really, it's going to boil down to them eventually, kicking Damian Priest out. We all know that it's going to happen eventually.
Edge blessed them with a greater, if you believe yourself.
Man, he really did bless them with a great theme.
Shout out to Alter Bridge.
Yeah. Side note,
I
also do like the alterations of each of their themes, with the exception of Dominic. I'm not a big fan of Dominic's theme, but everything within the Judgment Day is different. Like you got Damian Priest's old theme back, but it's remixed because, of course, he's a villain with the Judgment Day now. And then, of course, when Finn Balor is not the Fiend, he has his remix to his theme as well. So it is, and I said the Fiend, I meant the Demon. Rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Bray.
So I definitely love that theme that Edge provided for them. With that, the match itself was, it's nothing special. I gave it a solid B+. I think the highlight of the match, of course, itself was Dominic doing or trying to do the Three Amigos, and the babyface team surrounding him like, you're not about to get this third one off, and they jump him. That was a satisfactory moment. The other match, Damian Priest, who did he throw through the table? I'm having a blank here because he did the Razor's Edge and he threw someone through the table. Was that Sammy?
Sammy.
Okay, yeah. Okay, all right, cool. That was a spot. One of the other highlights, of course, was will Randy or will he not? And when he didn't come out immediately, it was nice to see that they had that little Money in the Bank tease, because it's like, hey, these dudes are outnumbered. Let's just go ahead and cash in Money in the Bank. That would have been interesting to see them cash in Money in the bank in the middle of a War Games match. This is like, oh shit. So how would that work? Does it become a part of the match, or is he just gonna? But then again, if Seth gets pinned, then obviously he would lose the championship and they would lose the match still. But
I do think
I
there
was
was
just
a
wondering,
spot they could have took advantage of with like the Judgment Day leadership. Damian catches in, right? But say it was an open title, then Drew wants the title, Damian wants the title, Finn wanted the title too. I thought they could have played around a little bit before cashing in the Randy appearance, but it was a spot that I did not think they were gonna. Whoever produced that match, kudos, because that was a great way to bring in Randy.
It was because you think like, oh, they're trying to cash in, and then I hear voices, and the pop that he got was well deserved, because this man has literally been out of the ring for a year and a half with double fusion back surgery. Like the dude, it was not determined if he was ever going to wrestle again. And I'm so glad that he got that pop and he got the recognition he deserved for all the work that he's done in the ring. And even now, it was good to see Randy back. That was a big highlight for me, and I popped like a little kid again. I was like, "Yes, he's back! Yes, I'm glad that they did it this way, and I'm
His
glad
pop
he
was
got the reception."
reminiscent. His pop was reminiscent of Triple H's return. Remember, he returned as the Game.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
What was that? What was that?
Mm,
2001 or 2002? Because he was
2002.
gone. He was gone
mhm.
with the hamstring or thigh injury or something like that
That's
for
when
a
he tore his
quad
Yeah,
ACL
injury.
the
for,
first time.
that was torn quad.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
had a torn quad and stuff, and then he was gone for like maybe like a year and a half or something like that. But that pop was very reminiscent of that. And I said, yeah, Orton, also one of the forgotten heroes that need to be spoke on when it comes down to being goats.
mm-hmm.
Now,
Um,
now,
yeah. Go ahead, JB.
now. Oh man, Randy. Um, if I had to make a sports comparison to Randy, late as he is right now, he is late Kobe Bryant.
Okay,
Those last few
24.
years of yeah, like everything that Kobe did, and just like everything Randy does, is so effortless, and
Mm-hmm.
he makes it look so easy. It is so easy to take him for granted, and to take what he does and just not appreciate it. Also, the personal growth from who he is as a person, from how people talk about him what he was to how people talk about him now. Like these are two different people, but he's always been like the smoothest worker I've ever seen in the ring. And if you ask any wrestler, like anybody who's been in the ring, they'll tell you that they think Randy Orton might be the best of all time. JBL has also said if he wanted to build a pro wrestler from the ground up, he would look like Randy Orton. Like Randy Orton is like one of the best all time, period, bar none. He was the crown jewel of Evolution. He was the centerpiece of the Authority during its peak.
Mm-hmm.
He legacy, um, just everything he's been a part of, everything he's ever done. Randy Orton is him. Like
This is facts.
that is my guy. That is the guy. And the last year and a half, even the run he was on before he got hurt was one of the best of his career. The tag team with RK Bro, dealing with Roman. Oh my God, we haven't got a Roman match yet with him, but just everything that Randy does is he just makes it look so easy and so smooth. And I'm so glad he's back, especially feeling like you have that one thing that you love to do, like being ripped from you, potentially being ripped from you, be taking you forever, like being forced into retirement. Nah. Bump that. He's back. He beat the allegations. He's here, and he's going to be able to finish out on his terms, and I'm so glad to see him.
Beat the allegations is crazy, but yes,
Hey,
I'm
wrestling
glad to
gets for
see.
niggas.
Yeah, yes, wrestling is for niggas. I'm glad to see that he is back in the fold, and I'm glad that WWE did what they had to do to bring him back, and the way that they brought him back. Like that man deserves absolutely all the flowers. One of the callbacks, of course, we saw is him turning his attention to Jey Uso because again, we all know that the bloodline was the storyline reason why he was written out of TV, and he was looking at Jay and whatnot. I'm thinking, oh man, he gonna turn? Is he gonna do it because he's known to do it? But Jay actually saved Randy by giving a super kick to Damian Priest, and it's like, okay, here we go. I think whatever turns that they on, they've solidified. Hey, look, let's get this win, and of course, we all know the biggest spot that happened on this match was poor Jordan, excuse me, JD McDonough tried to climb up the cage to escape everybody's wrath after everybody else got hit with a special move. And of course, we all know that Seth and my boy Sammy was like, nope, you not going nowhere. And they was literally just kicking him and beating him at the top of the cage. And I see Randy just standing there, just cracking his neck. I'm like, oh shit, they about to do this shit. They about to do it. They about to do it. They push him off, lands right into an RKO. And I was like, well done. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. Well fucking done. But I thought Randy was going to get the pin, but he said no. He turned to Damian Priest, fed him to Cody. Cody gave him the crossroads, and Damian took the pin. Hint, hint, more storyline business, because isn't Damien the quote unquote leader of the Judgment Day, and wasn't he the captain tonight? So yep, that was more teasing and more feeding into the story, where you see two people who were claiming to be the captains of their squad actually ended up taking the fall. So it's going to be interesting how those storylines played out. But definitely hats off to that match. That was definitely a very solid War Games match. I thoroughly enjoyed what I saw. Again, it's not the best War Games match that I've seen, but it was still very, very good. And I thoroughly enjoyed what I saw, and that was a great closeout to a very great pay-per-view. Any comments before we get to the surprise at the end?
I'm gonna just say my letter grade and be done with it. It's a very high B plus, very high. Orton return was great.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's where I sit because I really want to get. Yeah, I'm gonna shut up.
Uh,
Okay.
B plus for me. One thing we didn't talk about was the group draping DDTs. I thought that was amazing.
That
Oh
was
yes,
fire. That
yes.
was
I
fire.
can't believe I missed that spot, but yeah, that was definitely a great spot.
And JD McDonough looks like a human Funko Pop. That's it.
Nah, you talking, bro. You talking right now. Yes, I'm glad somebody else sees that comparison, because, bro, your head is. Let me stop.
They should
All
have
right.
finished his braids.
I'll
but
just
now I'm
say,
done.
shout out to the homie Josh Gresh. If you don't follow him on Twitter, it's Gresh, great wrestling content creator, great content, especially for if you like live tweeting throughout the shows. He's definitely somebody to follow. And he tweeted the funniest thing about Randy Orton when he returned, and I just got to highlight it. He said, like, when Randy Orton hit that first DDT, it was like he had the Holy Ghost, and like, "Rah-ta!" He was like, yeah, da-da-da.
Oh.
And then hit that DDT. And so then he retweeted, right? This guy said, he quote tweeted it, and he said he had the guy in the quote tweet. It says Kendrick says, every time I'm in the streets, and it says I hear that Randy said yeah, and it hit the DDT because he was so high.
Wow.
So that's all I gotta say. It's great to see him back on the screen. The definition of consistency. Yeah, let's talk about what we gotta talk about.
All right, y'all. So, clearly this was being teased for and I'm just gonna say this, like, when it happened, when this person, of course, got fired from the other company, I thought, man, WWE is probably gonna stay away from him for a little bit, like, because they don't want to just get involved with that. But throughout the months, they were just making subtle hints, and I'm just like, maybe can they do it? Because we know that he said that he would never come back ever again. But with WWE, you never say never, especially if that paycheck looks good.
And Triple H at the helm. Shit.
Yes, exactly. And Triple H had mentioned it at the very end that if you were the same person that you were 10 years ago, then you've messed up. So it's clear that these are different people now, and WWE is a far different company from where it was back in 2014. But still, I
And
had
wasn't
my
the problem
doubts.
with Vince and not Hunter, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No, it's Hunter too.
It was Hunter
both.
too. Yeah. He
Hunter's the
had
one that
problems
faxed the paperwork over on his wedding day.
Got it.
They had problems. He had problems with all.
They don't like each other. They don't like each other. They're just coworkers.
Yeah. But still, it was like, okay, well, is this gonna happen? I still had my doubts. Like, I don't know if it's gonna happen, or if it does, I don't think it's gonna happen right now. I don't know. It seems too fresh and too raw, but maybe. But still, you never really know. But WWE kept hinting at it, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what happens when Survivor Series comes through. I still don't think he's gonna show up, but we'll see what happens. Now, literally, I'm just gonna name the moment and then where I was when, obviously, hell froze over. Literally watching it, you see the end credit logo pop up, and with Triple H, don't ever trust that thing.
Never, bro.
With
never.
Vince you could, but with Triple H, no, don't trust it, because
It's like Marvel credits, bro. Never trust it.
The only time that you will trust when the show is over is if you're watching the PLE from Peacock, when they get to that video package, then you know that it's over. But before then, don't trust it. As soon as the logo hit, I'm sitting there watching, like, okay. Well, it looks like the show might be over. Next thing you know, you hear that television static pop up, and I'm just like, oh shit. I'm literally in the airport trying to get to my connecting flight to Charlotte on the way back from celebrating Thanksgiving with my family. And I'm literally watching it on my phone. I'm boarding the flight and I'm watching, and all I hear is, and I almost dropped my phone. I'm like, oh, what the and I had to keep myself from screaming because I'm like, I'm in the bridge right now. Like, I'm about to enter the plane. Do not yell. Keep your emotions down. But I'm sitting here like eyes wide, like, oh shit, they did it. I cannot believe this is happening. And that pop was absolutely fucking amazing. Like, there's really no way to
That
describe it. It
Chicago
was
punk,
like,
that Chicago made punk for you, bro. You know?
yes.
You're welcome.
Chicago literally blew the roof
Omar,
off
you're
the
welcome.
Allstate Arena.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And of course,
on my
hell,
TV.
hell froze over, and CM Punk officially returned to WWE. It was like a moment that a lot of us never thought would happen ever again. And maybe if it wasn't for the issues that happened with AEW, it might not have happened.
Hell
But
no.
Shout out to Tony Khan, man. Tony Khan really. There was some background noise I seen about it, and Tony and Hunter had a really nice conversation, and I just if folks didn't catch the
CM
theme
Punk and
song,
Hunter had us. Tony didn't talk to Hunter.
No, it's all the snowman, Tony Khan? Or you talking about Nick Khan?
it's about Nick, the one that runs.
Okay, I'm like, oh,
Okay.
I was about to
Right.
say, wait a minute. I was
Right.
just want to talk to Tony. Now he talked to Nick, but
Yeah,
yeah.
he talked to Nick, and this that's what I meant to say. My bad, wrong names. And reading that, and also people, I don't know if people realize, but that they literally bought it from AEW the song back. They bought it back. Even though Cult of Personality, that was the 2023 version, which CM Punk already had anyway. They bought that back from Turner. So and that was really, really dope. Like, nice little exchange there. And I was like, you know what? Songs are interchangeable. That's cool. Because AEW is known for just taking real life songs and using them as theme songs for people. And it's just like, damn, like they already had that licensed version of the song. And as soon as CM Punk comes back, now it's everywhere across all like Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. So if you're looking for the song, it's out now. The new improved version of Cult's Personality for sure from Living Color. So there you go.
And shout out to Living Color. I know that the royalty checks is hitting every time that
Oh,
Like
song plays.
crazy.
every time.
Oh, they didn't get it from Tony Khan. They made a new version of it and bought the new version.
That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yep.
they bought a new. That's a goddamn another L. No,
Damn.
no, Tony waking up like, damn, bro, like, come on, man.
I know he did like 3 lines this morning. I know he did.
Jaguars won, so he got some. Okay,
He
no,
did 10 lines.
CM Punk is. I'm about to put my capitalist hat on. CM Punk is a draw, is a money draw. Yeah,
Yes.
is he a Roman? Is he a Roman draw? No one's a Roman draw. But is he a draw? Like over 9 million views within 12 hours to the video that they posted to his return. I was so heated. Same, just like I missed the Edge's return live. I missed CM Punk's return live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thinking the pay-per-view's over. I had to get on the phone because things happen. You got to talk to people because shout out to the geese. And so
I'm gonna download that clip for this episode.
Next thing you know, I look on Twitter. Shout out to Vonnie. He said he couldn't make it today, and I see Vonnie tweets CM Punk back on my television on WWE screen. I'm like, nigga, what? So I said, hey, I gotta call you back, and I rewind Peacock, and I had to go back and watch the pop. I was destroyed on the inside that I missed it live. Same thing happened to me in the Royal Rumble when Edge returned. I walked away from my phone, came back. I see Edge on my screen. I'm like, what is up with me missing these damn pops, B? Like, I just walk away or go to the bathroom for 10 seconds and I miss these moments. And it's tearing me up on the inside, kid. I don't think y'all understand. Like, it's cool. I'm watching the replays, but there's nothing like, for example, I got to watch the Hardy Boys pop live, and I got to mark out live, and it's a joy in the presence when you get to mark out live for it. Mm-hmm. But I missed just those last two. Probably those are the last two big. I saw when he returned, and I'll say this last thing: the AEW return to me was more impactful
Facts.
when he came to the United Center,
Yeah.
because I didn't see him wrestling. And that's when AEW truly turned into not only just an alternative, but like, hey, yo, we are a business to be reckoned with. Now,
Hmm.
that's a whole other pod for another day for the backstage issues and, you know, issues on both
Ball
sides
out.
with Punk and also with the Elite. But with that being said, when he was there, they were drawing their first $1 million house with that pay per view. They were
Mhm.
when he came back for Collision, they were bringing in ratings for Collision on
Facts.
Saturdays. So he was able to run it as a business. And now, to quote Jr., business is picking up. Business is about to pick up this Monday on Raw, because him with a microphone, even if it's WWE, you never know what CM Punk is gonna
You
say.
do not know what he
Right.
gonna say
No,
ever.
no,
As he likes to say, even when you think you have all the answers, he changes the question. So
no.
it'll be interesting to see, man. And from a personal
No.
standpoint, listen, personal politics aside, some of the things that comes out of Philip Brooks' mouth is just like, come on, bro. Like this is a little much. Granted, I understand that you are a person who speaks your mind. And I'm all for that. It's just some of the stuff will be so off kilter. You're just like, damn, bro, did you really have to like go that far? Especially within AEW. But then that's another pod, and another discussion for another time. With that in mind, though, I still enjoyed watching him on my television screen, whether it was in Ring of Honor or whether it was in WWE or whether it was in AEW. I've always enjoyed his
That man a
ring
draw.
work. Yeah,
See,
he is a draw.
and I can't
And
speak on y'all relationship. I'm sorry. You go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying, like, so when the whole shit with AEW happened, I'm just like, damn, man, Punk might actually be a poison. I don't know if WWE is going to touch him, but as we've all said, he is a draw. He's a major draw. And with that, he was helping AEW get in those ratings. Now, the thing that I want to point out the differences between him coming back to wrestling full time with AEW versus him coming back to WWE, the difference in the, I guess, pops is that with the United Center pop, you knew that CM Punk was coming to AEW. It was the worst kept secret
Facts.
of all time. Like, you just knew, okay, yeah, he's gonna show up in AEW. Like, it's set up for him to show up. There's no denying that. We just are going to be thankful that we get to see him actually perform again, because he actually has not wrestled since he left WWE. So this will be great to finally see him pick back up where he left off. With this was a completely different feel, because it's like, is he or is he not? He still had that broken relationship with WWE. He said never again. You really don't know. Is it going to be tonight? Is it going to be further down the line? Is it going to be next year? Who really knows? Is it going to be at all? And then just to hear Cult of Personality boom through the speakers, you just like, whoa, genuine surprise. Like, they actually pulled it off. And I think, I don't know if I want to say it was a bigger pop as much as it was for me, but it was a more satisfying pop. Like, damn, that was a genuine surprise and a huge moment for WWE, which we all know are in the business of making moments, and that right there
Mhm.
was a moment. So
Do y'all remember when
yeah,
he came to WWE on Fox? Remember that? And that was a
Yeah,
pop then. Remember that? When he came
oh
yeah.
on the
We
talk
did the
show?
talk show.
yeah,
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 yeah.
I
When people
remember.
were just like, "Oh shit, he's back." He's not officially with WWE, because he was doing, the little
he was
backstage show,
Fox.
but
Yeah, it was a
it was
Fox.
just
That
Yeah.
like,
was Fox
yeah, he had a
money.
Fox contract, but yeah, it was still like, damn, yo, he's actually doing something WWE related or wrestling related again. So that was, good to see. So
Um,
yeah, I was just floored by when it happened, and I'm just like, damn, yo, WWE really pulled it off, man. Hats off to them for being able to do this. He really is going to change the business. And
again,
again, literally, and with WWE, you never know what's going to happen. So this is going to be interesting how he's going to play into these storylines. Obviously, if you saw the not screened or quote unquote, the footage of other people when they showed Seth Rollins, being angry and whatnot, which clearly is a work, but that, yeah, you could do that program, because it's clear, how much Kobe Lopez does not like Phillip Brooks. I think that has been established for years on end, that these two don't like each other, but they are willing to work with each other. And make business happen. So again, I think that if Seth was really, really upset, he would have I don't know. He would have went backstage, and it really would have been a whole different situation. But he is a consummate professional, and he was just working the crowd. So I'm glad that we got to see that moment as well of his reaction to him returning. But it was still just a genuine surprise for me. And again, I'm glad to see him back in the WWE ring, and we'll see what happens, man. As he said, it was a cold day in hell.
And CM Punk. See, I don't know about y'all. Years ago, CM Punk brought me back to wrestling before the pipe bomb. The pipe bomb solidified my return to watching wrestling full time. So his effect on the business, what he's done for the business, has just been for the people personally who were disconnected, who were able to draw people and bring people back in, like me, was amazing. That being said, I thought last night was absolutely hilarious, and because it was one of those things. It's just like, what timeline are we living in that this was
Right,
happening?
multiverse, bro. Shit,
Right.
crazy.
Like we are not on 616 right now. We can't be,
No
because
way.
why is this happening? And especially from the guy who just a few months ago was talking crap on live television on a rival promotion about main eventing one night of a buy one get two night extravaganza, and then get fired faster than you can let your head spin. Like, this was the guy just a few months ago talking like that, and here he is back. So it's hilarious. And for all the shit he's talked, for all the crap he's talked, and I believe Phil Brooks is the type of person to kind of stand on business. And to paraphrase what Seahawk on Twitter said, shout out to Seahawk.
Shout out to Cam.
Shout out to Seahawk.
Yeah. I believe in standing on your principles, but I also believe that rent is due on the 1st and late on the 4th. So if you go get that check, get that check. I am not mad
Yes,
at him
sir.
for it. This run is not going to last super long. It's going to have a couple years. He's going to do all the things. He's going to play all the hits. He's going to do all the new things that he's able to do before he's able to ride to the sunset. He's like 45, 46 years old at this point. He ain't got super long left with us in the ring, but he's going to make the money. He's going to draw. He's going to pop fans. He's going to be a conversation. That YouTube video of him return on WWE's YouTube channel, 1.2 million views in 4 hours. I know, because I was up there.
We're
4
at
hours
6
later.
million now. We're at 6 million now.
Yeah, I'm about to look at it again, because last time I looked, it was at the YouTube video that WWE clipped is at, what is it, at 3.4 now, and it was at 2 not even an hour ago. So yeah,
I think the total from all sites, I think it's close to 10 to 11 million now.
Yes. And would not be surprised at that number. Like I said, he is a draw. He's not a Roman level draw, but he is a draw. And in wrestling in 2023, it's hard to find a real draw. Skilled performers are everywhere. Someone that can bring people in, that can draw people in, that can grab eyes. That's him. He can do that. He will do that. Look forward to that Seth Punk match, because that's going to happen at Mania. Guaranteed. That's the match.
Anybody can have a 5-star match, but can you draw in 5-star money?
Yes.
At the end of the day, it's a business. At the end of the day, it's a business. You can stand on business, but you also got to be about business. And when it comes about being about that business, what is best for business, and what Triple H did yesterday, making this decision in the final hour, we'll see what happens, because I think the biggest thing and the biggest benefit to what can happen with this is that Triple H is in charge of creative.
And I also think that the structure in place in WWE will keep him in line, as opposed to AEW.
Yeah, WWE has they're going through and shout out to Bonkai Shawty. We want to push the younger talent. You got to push the younger talent. I think Triple understands that, but also you got to make $1. So this is going to be a good task going into the year with Triple H, because there's a lot more eyes back on the product. There's always been eyes on the product. They're selling out house shows, merches, and increase. But this is about to be his first full year, quote unquote, in charge. So his full year to create a cycle, and he has Roman on a part-time schedule. You can't lean on Roman like that, like you used to. So you have to either build up main event Jay, like he's doing, build up the bloodline, not the bloodline, Judgment Day, solidify the women's division, stabilize the mid card, and create new stars. So CM Punk So Cody Rhodes, he's pretty much elevated. So whenever John Cena makes his one-off, we'll have somebody to face. And we haven't even mentioned the one with everybody saying L.A.
L.A.
Knight.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
So we got a lot of skip the wrestling. We got a lot of great promo battles coming up soon, ladies and gentlemen, in 2020.
Oh yes.
Let me
I'm
talk
here.
to you.
Let me talk to you, okay? With everybody saying Chaotic Culture Podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, y'all have hit on every single point. I just want to make one more comment. The biggest thing about CM Punk's return was that everybody was surprised, like even backstage, like only maybe a couple people knew, outside of Triple H and CM Punk, obviously, but like maybe only, like, I would say, like the top stars probably knew, but they didn't know when. And then nobody in production knew. It was just a matter of Triple H making that call, like, hey, I'm gonna take over at the end. We're gonna get through this last match. At the end, I need y'all to play Cult of Personality, get these old graphics back up, and it's gonna happen. And then they said they cleared out a space in the arena, so he just walked in, plain clothes. He didn't have to hide his identity like they did with others, surprises like with Ronda or with any others. Or with Cody. Literally walked in with plain clothes, came to Gorilla, they played the music, and that was it. It was just like, damn, yo, he shocked everybody. And there's a meme out there of with Triple H saying, pretty much this is what we're gonna do at the end of production. Like, I forgot whose face that was, but it had them looking at him like what? So I think that, again, with that being a genuine surprise, has Triple H quote unquote bought back those genuine surprises, like in an age of wrestling where everything leaks on the internet? Well, more or less. I think that was the genuine surprise, because with CM Punk, it was a is he or is he not? But a lot of times, shit gets leaked, and you're just like, damn, damn, damn. Like the last year, again, rest in peace to Bray Wyatt. I think most of us knew that when Bray Wyatt was coming back with all the cryptic messages and whatnot, we knew it was Bray Wyatt, but he was still, genuinely nice, and he still had a genuine pop whenever he came back. But with the Hardy Boys, also worst kept secret. Well, not worst kept secret, also a great kept secret, excuse me, because I genuinely did not see the Hardys returning during that WrestleMania, and just like
They fought the night before. They fought the Young Bucks the night before.
I was like, I
Right.
was genuinely surprised when I heard that stock music play. I was like, oh, I popped like a little kid again. Like, I literally hopped out of my seat and I was just like, yes, yes, oh my god, we got the Hardy Boys back in WWE. Like, it was crazy. I was there when I was not there when Sting first came to WWE, but I heard that was a genuine surprise, because I mean they were doing stuff with
I got to
Sting.
catch that pop live, and that's when pop actually caught live.
Yeah, that was when I didn't catch live, because at that time I had actually canceled the WWE network to save money. But the moment that it happened, I resubscribed with the quickness. I was like, oh nope, I'm getting the network back. I can't do
One
it.
of the greatest
I'm gonna turn my
Survivor
camera
Series
off for this.
matches of all time.
Turn the camera on for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing on CM Punk, when CM Punk came back, and just overall, it makes me think about, and with Vince being gone, and like when we do our documentaries, it makes me think of a Vince moment. Just
Yep.
I'm gonna be crying. I'm gonna cut the camera. No, cut
Get the
cut-
camera.
cut the camera. No, I'm gonna cry when this moment comes up when Vince was gone and Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
Cut the camera.
It was
No,
special.
I'm with O on that. Like, I truly, and this is my last little excerpt on CM Punk, and this is why I think me and JB had this conversation on the timeline a couple of times. I know me and O talked about this before too, and me and you, Ked, as well. It's when Hunter's doing this, I love this.
Mm-hmm.
I came back to the program, at least when I speak of the program, I'm thinking of Royal Wrestling Entertainment. I came back to the program because Hunter took over, and I vividly remember Hunter running things during the pandemic, where it was very, very great. This is Hunter. Hunter has given us a lot of things, and I'm gonna just talk about the number one on top of the goddamn book. Roman, that nigga that filled the seat, Reigns, bro. Straight
Mhm.
up. This will not be really like that, and I understand what Vince was trying to do with Roman and stuff like that, but to have Roman go through mic work, on live TV with no audience but them digital screens that you can log in through Zoom with through WWE.com, right? He went through all of that, and now Roman can talk on the mic now,
Yep.
and he's literally the biggest draw in this entire industry, the
Hunter,
biggest draw, and it's like, wow, Hunter, like you really, he understands what it takes, not because he's done it, not just because he's done it before, but I'm also just thankful for the fact that he has a great business mind to kind of just understand, like, yo, you need a great mix of just like, you got to do both. You got to be able to do both. You can wrestle your ass off all you want, but you got to be able to do both. And
Yep.
I
we
think the,
gotta give credit to Hunter for that for sure. Like I think
I,
people be hating him. I understand why. I know why. I get it. But I love this Hunter. Like I wasn't the biggest Triple H wrestling fan, but I love this Triple H because
I'm glad you
this
said
is,
that.
yeah, like it's two different. It's two different. Triple H. You got Hunter Hearst Helmsley, who is right now. You got Triple H, who is the wrestler. And this here, right here, like I'm
This is
so
Paul
thankful.
Levesque cooking.
Paul Levesque is cooking,
Yes.
cooking.
Listen,
Paul
I
Levesque, Hemsley, McMahon, how you want to call this nigga? He is cooking
COO,
right now.
terrorizing.
terrorize. Oh my god. Jean
This
Like
Paul
man is
Levesque.
killing
and
it, bro.
Since we
I'm
saying
glad
all
you
these
said
crazy
that.
names. But
I'm
nah, for
glad you
real,
said
for
that
real.
because
Yeah, go ahead,
like
JB.
like him, like we mentioned, NXT is the most consistent wrestling product on TV.
Yes.
Also, like Raw and SmackDown are like right there next to it. And it's because Sean and Hunter understand what's going on. They have their fingers on the pulse of the performers. They understand who they're working with, what they're trying to do, what the direction is. And it's not like a swerve in the direction type thing where they'll go on a whim type deal that Vince was doing, or pick up certain things and drop it, or do nonsense of things and we just got to roll with it. They are doing long form storytelling with consistent performers that they're developing, that they're getting better, they're putting out there and putting a product and they're putting a meal together. Like I know some people complain that some people got bumped off of SummerSlam or in favor of other people, but everything that they've been doing, whether it's a premium live event, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, everything matters. Everything counts for something. Whether
Mm-hmm.
it's doing a rabbit in the background or whether you're doing Jay like kind of like looking worried because Randy Orton's name was said, or Drew giving Jay the death stare the entire time he was in the cage, or
Yep.
Io walking slowly to the cage for Bailey. Everything matters that they're doing, and that is why WWE right now is the best it's ever been. Like product wise, I don't care about the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era was fucked up in a lot of ways. We could talk
Preach.
about that
Thank you.
later. Attitude Era was fucked up in a lot of ways, but the product as it's sold right now, is they're giving it to us, is the best WWE has ever been, and because we have two people in charge of creative, two people in charge of talent that understand and know what they're doing, and they care about what we're saying, and they care about what they're doing long term, and we're all reaping the benefits from it.
Man, you was definitely preaching a word on that. And just to comment about the Attitude Era, for real, for real. I went back and I watched a lot of the Attitude Era, and I
That
realized a
shit was
lot of it did
ass.
not age well at all. I understand in the moment for what it was in the late '90s, like you needed that react those reactionary moments. So I get why it happened, but it was just looking back, I'm just like, dang, yo, I'm so used to watching at least great wrestling, instead of all these run-ins and all these disqualifications and shit like that. It's just like, yo, some of these, if it wasn't at the top of the card, like the mid card was just seriously like
Nigga,
lacking.
remember the separation of Raw and Warzone? Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
When
It was Raw
Raw
was
was
the
for the
first
bum
hour.
niggas and
Mm-hmm.
Warzone was for the real niggas?
Yes.
Yeah,
I hated it.
I was just like, damn, you know what? I understand why it needed to happen, but yeah, it was definitely this is why I kind of prefer the ruthless aggression era over the attitude era. But
Preach on it.
preach.
even still, it was you could tell that it just does not age well. But it was necessary to happen because again, you get stars like Triple H, you got stars like The Rock and Stone Cold, obviously, who are at the very pinnacle of WWE, and one of the reasons why it ended up beating out and buying WCW. So, it had its time, but still, yeah, it's seeing to Jay's point, seeing Hunter the wrestler versus Paul Levesque, the actual executive, and Shawn Michaels the executive, like you see now people who understand the business as a wrestler and as a performer, and sitting under Vince McMahon, who, but despite all of Vince McMahon's faults, and he's got a hell of a lot of
Hell of a
faults,
lot.
he still has the mind for wrestling. So being able to sit under him and taking in the stuff that you learned while you were in the ring itself and being able to apply that shows that Triple H and Shawn Michaels and anybody else that's under them really have a knack of understanding what this business needs and what it entails. And so I was a little really concerned that when Triple H had his cardiac moment and the fact that Vince was taking all of these responsibilities away from him, I was very, very concerned, because I'm just like, oh shit. I feel like Vince feels that maybe Paul was doing a little too well, and it's just like, no, you're not doing this anymore. You're not doing this anymore. The fact that he took NXT away from him, and at the time before Shawn Michaels had his hand on it, put it in the hands of yes, man, Brother Love. Like, and no shade to Brother Love. He has a knack for the business too, but it's just like, dang, I mean, he is kind of a yes man. Like, he's gonna do anything that Vince says, and so okay, we'll see how that goes. But still, it came back to bite him, because obviously, we got hit with the news of Vince and the sexual misconduct stuff, and then of course he retired, which put Triple H back in the driver's seat, and then Vince tried to do the hostile takeover, and to his credit, money wise it worked, but power wise it did not. So all I got to say is this is a great time to be a wrestling fan, especially if you have been paying attention really and truly to what's been going on between the businesses. It's great to have competition. It's great to have other products you can watch. Listen, Impact Wrestling is becoming TNA Wrestling again at the top of the year. Like, it's an excellent time to be a wrestling fan and get back into that. So
and slick about Impact. They've had the best women's wrestling for years.
For years. Like, years. Like, the Knockouts division
talks about it.
Crazy.
Like, if you want to say Mercedes coming back to WWE, cool. But Trinity, leave her where she's at. She is thriving where she is.
100% facts. Like, it is. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, with Sunny Kiss, they killed that.
Man.
But anyway, we've talked a long time about this. We are not quite at 2 hours yet, but we're gonna go ahead and close. Thank you again, O and JB, for coming through to the podcast. I'm gonna let y'all, get y'all plugs out real quick, and then I'm going to actually end the podcast. I'm not going to do the rundown today, but still, for all the businesses and for all the podcasts that we support, all the content creators that we support, y'all know that we love y'all and we have love for y'all. Be sure that y'all tune in next episode, because of course we are going to have a special guest come through as well. I definitely appreciate everybody tuning in, especially if you're a wrestling fan. I know that you enjoyed this episode. If you know anybody else that enjoys wrestling like we do, please get us hip, let us know, so that way we can include them in this space and talk about wrestling, because we could talk about this for days, hours, years even. So definitely come through. And then if you're just a casual wrestling fan, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with being a casual too, and if you're getting back into wrestling, definitely check this out as well. We here to talk all things Black culture, and wrestling has been a part of Black culture now, and it is a part of Black culture. As we said, wrestling is niggas. Indeed. So with that, again, thank you to JB, thank you to O. If y'all want to go ahead and plug up real quick.
Oh, you want to go first?
You like my voice? It turn you on? Then you should follow me on social media. Oasis3457. That was my first time I ever did that. I wanted to see how that was going to cook.
If y'all can see my face right now, like, what's this nigga doing?
I was gonna say, like, you like my voice? Are you intrigued? Follow Oasis on social media, if you please. Anyways, Oasis3457 on all social media accounts. So that's TikTok, Twitter. You can follow the CultureCast Pod _ on Twitter as well. We live tweet a lot of wrestling. Shout out to Britt to the knee. She was at Survivor Series yesterday, and she was at SmackDown. Shout out to the Midwest Melanin Mafia. That is 4 Black wrestling content creators or pods in the Midwest. We got, and if you're not following, you need to follow We Love Wrestling, LUV. We Love Wrestling, my boy Trey D. If you want to be in the know of anything that's independent wrestling, We Love Wrestling is the place to be. Shout out to Trey, and he's a globetrotter. He's at every show. You got the ladies for Down for the Count. The entire squad over there Down for the Count. When I say they know they shits, they know they shits. I love those ladies. You got us with the Culture Cast, and you got my boys from the 314. I got my homie Cinco, who's actually your fraternity brother Ked, and Down for the Count. That's Know the Ropes podcast, KTR. So the Midwest Melanin Mafia is what we call ourselves when we pod and talk shit about wrestling. But outside of that, man, shout out to the Brontier boys. Shout out to each and every one here. And always a reminder before I get out of here, man, sugar does not go on grits. And if you choose to put sugar on your grits, I just got to say you don't enjoy life. And if you don't enjoy life, there's no more life. Shout out to Drake. Be good.
Bro, at me next time. That's crazy. Nigga, I like sugar on my grits, bro. That's wild.
You can put whatever you want on your grits as long as it goes to the trash afterwards. All right.
Hey!
So,
wow. Go ahead, JB.
One last time before we close on out. My name is JB or JB versus the World. The writer's strike is now over. So I'll be going back to my regular content here pretty soon. Been on a bit of a hiatus lately between the writer's strike. Also, I'm about to be an uncle pretty soon. So shout out to my brother for that. Also, shout out to Britt to the knee. She's amazing. Like, she's so sweet.
You know Britt?
Yeah, we follow each other.
Okay, cool. That's the homie. That's my podcast.
Yeah. Cool peoples. All right. So, may the space be with you with Tay and Ant. And so we'll be back at the beginning of the year, still working on those details out. But if you want to follow me on my socials, you can follow me at JBV the World on Twitter if you want to argue with me. And you can follow me on JB versus the World on everything, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And all my central stuff is on jbversustheworld.com if you want to follow me all there. I did my short, if you want to check out my short, on Pepsi Phil's Return to Wrestling. I recorded as much as I could live. So if you want to touch that up, I'll probably post it up on Twitter right after this. But yeah, JB versus the World, all platforms, JB versus the World, JBV the World on Twitter. If you want to argue with me, come holler at me. I'm around. We can talk about anything, or you want to box it out, we can do that too. Because again, versus everybody. I'll fight you. Just kidding. I won't. I'm super nice. All right. That's it.
Wow. Hey, appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. So with that, once again, just be sure that you follow each and every one of these Black Kings on this podcast. I definitely thank them for coming through and showing love and doing this episode with us. And for your listening pleasure, obviously, the Chaotic Culture Podcast will be back as well. Big shout out one time, of course, to Inside the Mind of Blurred, to the gang. Also, big shout out to Shogo High. You already know what it is. And with that, be sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Chaotic Culture Podcast on your favorite digital streaming platform. You can subscribe to the Patreon for early access and bonus episodes. That is patreon.com/Chaotic Culture Pod. Whether you subscribe to $2, $3, $5, $7, $10, it don't matter how you subscribe. We appreciate your support. Of course, you can follow the Chaotic Culture Podcast on Facebook. You can also follow us on X/Twitter at Chaotic_Culture and on Instagram at Chaotic Culture Pod. You can follow me, Ked the Pro. That's K3D the Pro on all social media. You can follow Miss Nasa at all social media at _call me Nasa. You can follow Miss Sappy on all social media at Scraps14. You can follow Law at Instagram at L.JR_96 and on X/Twitter at Law96_. You can follow Jay on all social media at Jaylee Trey, and you can follow Steve on all social media at Scuba Steve 1428. And this has been another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. So until next time, folks, remember, embrace the culture. Chaos rules. Be blessed. Be safe. God is love. 2 up, 2 down.
It's the KKP on your mother flipping airways. Hear the name ringing through the halls and the stairways. You were listening to a pod that can segue all the latest topics, guaranteed to fill your headspace. It's a safe place to voice your opinion. Say what you feel, just like you're a kid again. Kid the pro and friends, black as obsidian. Chaotic culture, that's the world we living in. So what's the word?
You are now tuned in to the Chaotic Culture Podcast. And